Hey guys, this is Shannon, and you're watching Shannon On Demand, where we show you how to take demand of your business to demand a better life. All right, guys, today we are going to talk about how to fund your nonprofit. We've been talking about how to get a nonprofit, what you need to do with your board of directors, and things of that nature. But we really hadn't touched upon what you need to do in order to fund your nonprofit. Usually when you're first starting out with a nonprofit, it's understood that you don't have any money. So we're going to talk about where is the money? How are you going to find money for your nonprofit? While funding your nonprofit may not take on the same form as it did, say, 20 years ago, it's still quite possible to have a nonprofit organization that is fully funded. And that is the end goal for what we're doing. We want our nonprofit organizations to be fully funded. The best funded organizations diversify their funding efforts in opposed to relying too heavily on one source of funding. So basically, we don't want you to put all of your eggs in one basket. You need to have different types of funding that's coming in. Now, when we talk about for-profit organizations like LLCs, for instance, we are always talking about having multiple streams of income. But did you know that you need to do that for your nonprofit as well? So some of the sources of income that we're going to talk about are major donors who probably are going to give you annual gifts of, say, $5,000 or more, special donors who are going to give one-time gifts, probably less than that $5,000 total. So you should also have monthly donors. Your board should also give, and I think we kind of discussed this in another video. Your board members should be willing to give something. You should seek foundation giving, corporate sponsors, local business sponsors, government grants, online giving, fundraising events, in-kind gifts, and planned giving. Now, these 12 items should be working in conjunction with each other, working simultaneously. You should not have all of your eggs in the grant basket. You shouldn't have all of your eggs in the fundraising basket. You shouldn't have all of your eggs in the sponsorship basket. Please diversify that portfolio so that you are having different streams of income working for your nonprofit simultaneously. There is also, just a few criteria to be met prior to assuming that you're going to be able to take a piece out of this gigantic pie that we're talking about. At least your organization should be registered with the state government to do business within the state. So we know that you need to be a nonprofit, registered with your state, and then also have federal identification, meaning that you should have that 501c3 tax exempt status for your nonprofit. I'm going to have my email address in the description box. You can email me if you need or want more information concerning that 501c3 process. Now, what exactly is a grant? Grants are usually awarded to organizations for organizational support or in support of a specific program or purpose. Well, in general, grant makers give to those organizations or ministries whose missions and program objectives are in line with those of the grant maker. So if the grant maker is saying that they're going to give you money for an after-school tutorial program, and your organization is focused on adult residential living, then your mission isn't in line with their mission. So that's why it's very important that you read over everything that these foundations are suggesting or recommending or wanting to give monies to, and make sure that your mission is aligned with what their mission is. When searching for funding, we sometimes find ourselves fishing for food in an empty pond. Nevertheless, there is a certain art to searching for funding. Before involving yourself in countless hours of useless research, you should first do the following. Understand your mission and why it is relevant to the needs of your community. Be knowledgeable of the resources that you already have available to you. Develop your language skills for writing an effective proposal. Acquire the ability to monitor income and expenses, measure the successes and failures of your program, and report back to the funder or grant maker. So you have to make sure that you understand what your mission is. You need to make sure that you're able to effectively put that in writing. And if you're not able to do that, then you should seek professional assistance. That's one of the services that we offer. We are grant makers. So now, before you can even start looking for a grant or wanting a grant, there are certain things that you need to have in place first. You must create a clear mission and vision, know what your goals and objectives are. This is so important because if you don't have this reconciled in your brain concerning your nonprofit, then you're not going to be able to find appropriate funding. You have to make sure that your board members are committed. Make sure that they're committed. Even if they haven't served on a board before, they can be trained. Make sure that they're committed, that they want to learn, that they want to be able and are in a position to support your efforts. Make sure that you have great legal standing. And what that means is that your organization has been formed, that all of the annual reporting for your state is done. Please make sure that you've done that you've got your DUNS number, that all of your city state requirements are up to par, that once you receive your 501c3 tax exemption, that is up to par as well. So you have to make sure that all of the legal requirements are up to speed. And you also have to develop a fundraising plan, which is going to be the main source of actually seeking support from different sources. You have to know where you're going to go in order to seek support. So once you have established your nonprofit, you may begin seeking grant funding opportunities. It is wise to seek out opportunities for which you are most likely eligible to receive an award. So what that basically means is you need a grant search person, somebody that can actually do a grant search for you, right? So that you'll know exactly what you need, how much they're willing to give, and if it's in line with your mission. And remember, if you don't know what your mission is, then a grant is not going to help you. If you don't know how much you need, then a grant is not going to help you. You must know how much you need. You must know if you need monies for operational support, or if you need monies for program support, if you need monies for event support. It's totally different. Your operational budget is different from your program budget. Your program budget is different from your event budget. So you have to know exactly what you're needing the grant to do, and also to be able to back that up. Now, remember, even though you may have submitted the best proposal there is, your funding could still be rejected, right? Just because you've applied for a grant does not guarantee that your organization will be funded. I am going to give you just a few reasons why your well-written proposal may have been rejected. 1, your mission goals, objectives do not align with the mission goals and objectives of the funder. So you've learned that the government or a foundation, corporation is giving away money, and man, you are just so excited about getting some of that money. And we know that your organization needs money, of course. So you proceed to apply for this grant. But did you actually read the request for proposal? Are you certain, before spending time and energy on developing that proposal, that your mission accomplishes or seeks to accomplish whatever that funding agency is hoping to accomplish? So your end goal must meet their end goal. It is extremely bad move. I mean, it is a really bad move to apply for funding that doesn't fit into your organization's mission. So remember, you have to read through that request for proposal to make sure that the missions, goals are the same. Number 2, you did not consider the funder's submission deadlines. Being inconsiderate of the funder's wishes is a no-no. It is usually the case that proposals received after the requested deadline end up in the not going to review pile. The funder may feel that if you did not consider their deadline, why should they consider anything that you need? Why should they consider even giving you the funding? So make sure that you are considering and knowing what those deadlines are and actually meeting those deadlines. Number 3, your organization is not ready for funding. All right, so let's just get straight to the point on this one. Your organization may simply not be ready for funding. Depending on the type of funding for which you are applying, being ready can have several definitions. For example, larger pots of money usually require at least 1 year's worth of financials or financial statements. Of course, if your organization was only founded 3 months ago, you don't have this required documentation. A huge mistake that I see several new and underexperienced nonprofits make is applying for extremely large amounts of funding right away. Unfortunately, without a strong board, no proof of financial responsibility, it's highly unlikely that these new and or underexperienced organizations will be eligible for large amounts of funding. So it is recommended that you first begin building evidence of financial responsibility. And this can be done by first acquiring donors and seeking funding opportunities from foundation and corporate funding agencies. During this time, organizations can work on strengthening their boards, increasing visibility, and collaborative efforts. And I tell that to my nonprofits all the time, that you have to be able to show proof of concept. What is it that you're doing is working? Are you keeping data? The data is really the main proof that what you're doing is working. When you're just coming out of the gate, it's going to be difficult to get $150,000. It just is. I mean, and that's just the reality of the situation. So your fundraising should be, you should really be on top of your fundraising. You should be on top of getting those collaborative efforts in place. You should be on top of getting those corporate sponsors. And you should also be on top of being visible in your community. Get all of those things together before you start wanting to apply for these large sums of money and you have no proof that what you're doing is even working. Number 4, your location is wrong. This goes back to making sure that you've read the request for proposal. Some of these agencies only want to, help nonprofits within a certain locale. It might be within their state, it might be within their parish, it might be within their county, which means it's a different state, because in Louisiana, we deal with parishes and not counties. So if this is a specific location, if their interest is within a specific location, the request for proposal will identify the location. Sadly, and this is in my opinion, which goes back to not reading, because you're feeling desperate, you're wanting the money, but you're not reading what their specific location interest is. Number 5, you didn't connect with the reviewers. While this does not always mean that you should develop an in-person relationship with them, it is sometimes necessary that you do so. In addition to this, be sure that your proposal offers content that the review is familiar with, that they're interested in, and that they care about. This is most effectively done when your mission is at the heart of the reviewer. Reviewers are human. not automated money machines, right? So people are more likely to be compelled to give you money if they can identify with the need you're trying to establish. Number 6, your submission is difficult to follow. Whether you believe it or not, when it comes to a grant proposal, there is a difference between a well-written proposal and a bunch of fluff, and they can recognize the fluff. Again, reading the request for proposal can help you with this. For example, many requests for proposals have page limits. The page limit is not placed there to intimidate you. It is placed there to let you know that your proposal can indeed be communicated in a limited amount of space. So what is fluff? Fluff is fluff. That's just what it is. Many new grant writers and others who submit proposals on behalf of organizations find themselves wanting to use all of these big words and a lot of other long terminology that really is not necessary at all. When I speak with a lot of my nonprofits and I ask them for a mission statement, and I tell them all the time, use your own words. You don't have to give me flowered words. You don't have to, just make it simple and to the point. While we do want the reviewers to know that we're literate, filling the proposal with a bunch of useless terms, particularly if there is no method to your madness and you are only using this to appear intelligent, is a quick way to kill your chances of being funded. I hope that these nuggets will help you to fund your nonprofit. Remember that we're always talking about streams of income. I kind of focused a little bit more on grant funding for this particular one, but remember, you've got fundraisers, you've got donors, you've got those donors that are going to contribute annually, those are going to contribute monthly, those who are going to contribute just for a specific program or event that you're hosting. There are businesses within your community that are just looking for tax write-offs, right? Remember, having that 501c3 is a tax write-off for them. Your fundraising events, I'm probably going to do another video so that we can talk a little bit more about fundraising. But remember, you have to work at your nonprofit. It is not going to happen overnight. It is not a get-rich-quick scheme, none of that. But if you put in the work, then your nonprofit will be able to be totally and fully funded. Oh my goodness gracious. It's a lot of work, and I know that it is. But if you stop overwhelming yourself with looking at everything as a big picture and start looking at it as, let's just tackle this, then we'll tackle that, then you'll tackle this, and break it down into separate components. And I promise you, you'll be able to get everything accomplished. All right, guys, thank you for before we do that, remember to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, I need you to hit that bell so that you'll be notified every time we upload a new video. Share this content, leave us a comment, let us know how we're doing. Guys, I thank you once again for tuning in and for watching. This is Shannon with Shannon On Demand, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.